safety and security net. Please take care to experience and permanently on and off train as underfoot surfaces may be affected by the weather. Government guidance states public...
Hello again, friends, and it's good to be back in the Glasgow South Model Tram and Rail Group workshops. Today we're going to look at the Lima Ringfield motor. This is one that I hadn't covered, and one of you asked if I could do a workshop on it, and I said yes, I would. So we're going to have a wee look at it. In certain ways it is even simpler than doing the Hornby one, and once you've got the faceplate off the motor, the actual armature can just be pulled right out if need be. You know, you don't have to take the drive gear off it because it's actually a plastic drive gear and it's on the armature itself, and it just pulls right out. So that's an advantage if you need to take it out for some reason or put a new one in. You don't have to get the gear off. So when I've got the camera set up, I'll be back. So here we are, friends, and I've got the model here. This is a model of the Great Western Railcar in green livery. I had the parcels version of it, and I had it in maroon. But I always fancied the green one. Was pretty hard to come by, and when I saw this for £35, I snapped it up. Had it for quite some time. I don't remember ever doing a strip on it, so we'll do that now. We'll get it out of the box. There we are. Now, come in a wee bit. To start stripping it, at each side between the two bogies there is two screws. Get my trusty screwdriver here. Just undo them. And with a bit of luck, no. Right, friends, I didn't realise to get the body off you've got to withdraw the buffers. That's what was holding it on. So we'll take this out and get the interior out, and you've got the wire to the other bogie, which I should have a pair of tweezers about that I can pull that out. There we are, and that comes out like that. So that separates the two bogies, and the other bogie can come right out like that if you need to replace any of the stuff on that. One idea might be to put a bit of stripboard over the copper stripboard, and then put pickups onto it if you're having bother with your pickups on it. That would be a good wee thing to do. So we're left with we want to get the bogie out of the frame. Here we are now, my locomotive cradle I've got, just to sit this in. Makes it a wee bit more thing to show you guys can see. Now, on the bottom of each bogie there is two screws which will undo. and the bottom bogey frame just comes right off. And that leaves the bogey free to come up through the chassis. It just comes up the way, so you're taking it inside. Put the weight back in there. Unfortunately, the wire to the other bogey, the clip has come off, so I'll have to resolder that later. So there we are. You've got the buffers off. You've got the two screws to hold the roof to the frame, and you've got the two screws to hold this to the bogey frame. So on this you've got the capacitor, and you've got two chokes. And this is where you get tricky again with can I move this out of the way, folks, so you can see better. You've got the brush retaining arms, which you have to lift up, and I always say very, very carefully. Because if those who have seen the other workshops will know that these springs have a habit of skating. Now I've got a wee dish here that I'll put everything in. Should be another screw line about somewhere. Here it is. I've got all the screws. And I'll just put with my trusty tweezers, put the springs into the dish. Now that leaves the brushes. Now sometimes when you turn it upside down, well it didn't, in this case it did, and by the look of that, guys, the brushes are brand new in this, so it's not an awful lot of running. So that releases the faceplate once you do two screws. Like that. Tweezers again. Two screws out. Lift off. Now just be very careful, because this choke is soldered to the pickup underneath. So we'll take the armature out. Put it in the dish. So we're left with the armature itself. And I don't know if you can see this or not, folks. I'll try and zoom in a wee bit. Dirt wise, it's not too bad. You know, I've seen a lot worse than that, but we'll still give it a wee clean up. So we've got our trusty teacup. I'll zoom back out on that, folks, in case you miss anything. And our cotton buds, make sure you've always got plenty of cotton buds, folks. You will need them, let me tell you. And just give it a good, don't be frightened to put a bit of weight on it. And then just give it good polish. Whoever had this before me looked after it. Just to make sure we get everything off. We'll use another cotton bud. And there you have it. Nice, clean, ready for good more service and that. Okay, so really it's just a question of reassembling it all. As I say, if for any reason you want to take the magnet out, make sure there's a metal ring round the magnet. Make sure you take that with it, because that's what they call the keeper. Some of them are quite tight to take out. There. So you're alright if you've got the keeper with it. When you put it back in, there's a wee tab at the top there. Make sure it goes in first, because there's a hole at the top of the bogie, and that has to go into that. You just sit it in and then push the bottom in, and there we are. And then we put the armature in. There we are, it's in. And then replace the faceplate. So you can see that the Lima one is quite simple to do. I find them a lot easier than the Hornby version. Like that. Now the brushes, they were new, so they're not dirty in any way. Never dropped one on the floor. So I managed to find it, folks. Now, 2 springs. always make sure I've got the spring in before I put the other one in. And the same with the other one. That's it in. Don't be tempted to push the arm flush, just because it means that the tension would be more than it should be. Just so that it holds the spring in, the brush in as well. There we are. Now, we could test that just now, just to make sure that everything's hunky-dory. So I'll get my lead for my power supply. So, get the wires. And didn't seem to run. It runs. So she's okay, it's just running now. So we've got that, we know it runs. So it's just a question of putting, screw in, you know, efficient. Putting the bogey back into the bogey frame. What you've got to watch is, it's very difficult with this, for a minute, hold on. Right, that's the bogey, the back bogey. Right, what you've got to do is, you've got to test, I should have my meter about somewhere. You've got to test from that pin Just got to test this now, see if whether it works or not. This is why I said to put to try and get a separate set of pickups underneath this, because I don't think that pin really makes a good contact. I've had this trouble before. Anyway, that's as long as the two bogies, you've got the insulated wheels on one side, that's the one that's connected to that. So the pickup's on the opposite side, that should be alright. There should be no connection between one and the other. So that's right. So get that sorted out. The next stage, we'll have a wee look at that, I think, later on. I'll put the top back on the T-caddy. And the next thing is to get this back into the chassis. Oh, Andy, you're doing it the wrong way. This goes in from the top. I think. There it is, I think. You've got to make sure it's not it. There we are. That's it now. And then that goes on. Sorry folks. I'm getting out of focus here. There it is, it's back in place. Make sure that it swings alright, there's no. And then take out the mitt again and run the wire into the well where the weight sits. Bearing in mind you don't want it underneath the weight. Just wire just slides down the side of the weight. And then it comes up. And then with the other bogie, but I'll do that in a minute because I want to check. I've had this problem before with this bogie. So this should clip in. then the base plate should slip out. Now, this is where you've got to watch the wheels, watch which way you put them in. I think a wee bit, just a wee rub of the T-cut on the pickup here should sort any problems out here. You want to make sure you've got a good contact. But keep them facing the same way. Don't turn them round the other way. Keep them the same way as they came out. And everything should be hunky-dory. And the same on the pickup. That, then just make sure you get all this stuff off. The wheels had already been cleaned before after I bought it. I think that was the only thing I did, I cleaned up the wheels. I don't have to do them. So, just to double check, the insulated side, there's a wee bush in there, a wee plastic bush, that's the insulated side. The other side doesn't have that, it's just melt to melt. So make sure that the insulated side is both on the same side or you'll get a short. And then you just take this, well, one wee thing, just give the wee bits, just a wee tweak to make sure they're making good contact. And then the other bit just clips back in place. Make sure it's in right. Make sure the wheels turn freely. And put the top on the T-cut. And now we'll test it again to see if we get getting a contact again. Right, we'll start again, Andy. There we are. No bother, good contact. So, the next stage is to take this clip back out again. and stick it through there. You could actually give the clip a wee buff with the fibre brush if you wanted, just to get any muck off it. In fact, I'll just maybe do that with the T-cut actually, just to make sure that then with your pliers, pull up the pin, and stick the clip in, and that holds the bogey in. So that's that done. So we can unplug the power unit, plug in soldering iron. Okay folks, we just got to wait on the soldering iron heating up. So while we're doing that, we can flux. Once I find my jar of flux, which is in this box. Give me that now. Just a wee dab, and the same on the wire. Always flux your joints, folks. So guys, I think the soldering iron will heat it up by now. Just cleaning the tip, make sure that it's nice and clean. And I'm sorry folks, I'm very disorganised this morning. I don't have any. I've got solder, but I don't know where it is. Okay guys, we're ready to go again. Nice shiny joint on the connector. And just a wee bit more solder on that, I think. Then That should do. Now the proof in the pudding is to test it. So, one wire, two wire. And there you have it, folks. That's the Lima pancake motor covered. The only thing we've got to do now is replace the interior. When you replace the interior, guys, watch which way you put it in. There's two holes, one for the pin and one for the screw. Make sure you put them to that end. It's very easy to get it the other way about and it doesn't really work. So there's the interior in. And it just remains to put the body on. Turn it upside down. Two screws. Then watch your bumpers because the holes are not round. You may just have to press the chassis up to get the bumpers in. And there we are, it's all back together, we know it runs. If you wanted to make sure the power bogie, by the way, is free to move. If you wanted to put passengers inside it, you know how to get the body off now. As I say, I've got this one, I've got one, a passenger van in maroon, and I've got the Hornby version of it in the blood and custard. I'm not so keen on it. I don't think the motor's as good as the Lima one. I like Lima's stuff for the motor wise. I think the Hornby one, if I mind right, is one of these motors, once the brushes go, find the motorway, and I don't think that's good value for money. So anyway, guys, there you are. Another motor covered. I think that's all the ones that I've come across that we've done now. We've done the Hornby, the Chinese version, the Lima, I think Mainline did one as well. I think I've covered all these things. So, still looking for new ideas, guys, for workshops. I've got my rolling road test bed thing, got the carcass made, got the panel. I've cut out the holes for 2 gauges, or 2 metres rather, plus the control, the gauge master control. I've got one more gauge, 1 more metre hole to cut out, and then it's on to, well, still got the track to lay on top. And I've decided that there's going to be a 00 track and an N gauge track, and then a 3 rail track, you know, for the Hornby Dubo. I'm not using the tin plate. I'm going to use ordinary Pico track and then put a line of screws up the centre with a wire to give you the 3 rail. So exciting times ahead. I'll post photographs as we go along, and I hope you've enjoyed the workshop. So send us your ideas. Tell us if you like the workshops we do. If there's something that you don't like, let us know and why. And with that, I'll sign off. Keep on shunting, keep on modelling, and may God bless you.
If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to staff or text British Transport Police on 61016. We will sort it, see it, say it, sort it.